everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to force install Windows 10 and also go through the whole installation process. Obviously it's going to be cut down time-wise in certain areas, but let's get started here. For a couple months you probably had this little Windows 10, get Windows 10 icon down your bottom right-hand corner on the system tray. Basically, if you said that you were going to reserve your copy, it probably already downloaded your computer before the 29th when it came out. So if you look at your hard drive, you'll see this folder right here is actually, this came in on the 28th. You can see, the day before it came out. And actually, if you run this setup, if you see that folder, you can actually start installing Windows right there. I'm not going to use this method, but you'll see it'll go to install Windows and it'll update whatever version of Windows you have. If you've got Windows 8 or 7 home, it's going to put 10 home in there. But you can see, so let's just go the route that I was going to show you here. I'm going to go to my Google Chrome here and just simply search for Force Windows 10 Upgrade, and probably the first 10 things will take you to the same place. Up there it's starting at the Windows installation that I ran. We're going to skip this and we're going to download this top one here, CNET, that's in Google when you search for Force Windows 10 Update. Basically you just got to get to the Microsoft page to download Windows 10, which is this link right here, Windows 10 download page. You can search for that, or I'll put this URL in the video description and you can get to it right there. But basically you want to download this little tool called 64-bit version of the Media Creation Kit. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in my default downloads folder. I don't care. Save it. Show the in folder. Here it is. So basically you just run this, and what this allows you to do is to install Windows 10 and or create CD media or USB media of various versions of Windows. So as this thing's loading up, I'm going to go over this little Windows 10 box here. There's one thing that's kind of important, is this report. It's probably been done a month ago on your computer, but you should view this report and make sure that you don't have any programs that aren't compatible with Windows 10. You can see that I'm going from Windows 8.1 to Windows 10 on this computer, and I've got everything clean. But the report did show yesterday that it wasn't compatible with my antivirus, which is Symantec endpoint protection. So I uninstalled that and put in Avast temporarily, and I'll wait until Symantec comes up with an update that works with Windows 10. But you can see everything's good to go. And also, if you have Windows Media Center, that's gone. There's no more Windows Media Center in Windows 10. You have to find something else to use if you were using it for movies or whatever. There's tons of other programs. No one hardly probably used Windows Media Center anyway. So let's go back to our setup here. Now you can see what we want to do. Yeah, we want to update this PC, upgrade it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit next, and it's going to download Windows 10. Now we know it was already sitting on the hard drive here, but it's going to download it again. But it's going to be pretty quick though, because I think it's just checking that folder and saying if the files are there and legit, and because it goes pretty quick to download. It's like 3 gigs, 3.5 gigs. Let's go to that folder and see how big that folder was. See, it's already started another folder here, WS. That's some sources directory. Let's right click on this and see the properties of it. So 3.35 gigs, that was already sitting there. So I seriously doubt it's done 10% that quick. But I'm just going to go ahead and pause this temporarily until it's done. So we're up to 32% right now. You can watch the time down the bottom right, see the time differences as it skips through there. Alright, we're halfway through. Downloading, not installing. Takes about 2 hours, I think, to get the whole thing in. Even on this, I've done like 5 of my other computers. No problems whatsoever. Everything's running perfectly smooth with Windows 10. And I've gone from Windows 7 to 10 and Windows 8 to 10. Just got to make sure that you've got all your programs that are compatible with Windows 10. If you're running some old crap, then there's going to be problems, or you need to uninstall them. Alright, we're getting there. 97%. 98. So now it's got to verify it, and then it's going to do some other rigmarole here. We haven't even gotten started with the installation yet. Alright, so now I had to switch to an analog, or just my digital camera here. Can't use the screen capture program anymore because the computer's going to be restarting here and there's no way to capture the screen. So at this point it's checking for updates, which there are updates already to Windows 10 even since it came out. I'm doing this, what, 2 days after it came out? And there's already been updates on my other computer, so it'll install those also. And like I said, I can't screen capture anymore for whatever reason in between. Right after it got done creating the image files, it would never load up this next step with the screen capture stuff on, so I turned it off and it's working now. So don't try to do a screen capture while you're installing Windows 10, or else it's gonna crap out right in the middle, right before it starts to load up this part right here. So now you get to agree to their license terms. Sure, if you want to install it, you have to agree. Still checking for more updates, I guess. So what it's doing right now is that hardware and software check again to make sure you've got all compatible software. Just doing it one last time before it starts the installation. And it takes a while. It takes about 10-20 minutes sometimes. I got a lot of stuff on this computer, so I'm sure it'll take about a half hour. We'll see. Alright, so now we're at the point of it done with all the hardware and software checks, and you can see that it's making you confirm that you're dumping Windows Media Center because it's gone bye-bye. So once you confirm that, it's going to check your space. This has plenty. It's an i7 loaded up, 32 gigs of RAM, plenty of hard drives, but it still took a long time to do that hardware check. So it doesn't matter how fast the computer is when it does that hardware software check, it could take a while. So now we're at the point of not no return, but the point of where it's going to start actually installing Windows 10. So you want to make sure that you're set up the way you want to, where you're doing it has this checkbox where it's checked as keep personal files and apps. If you have something that says refresh or anything else different, do not continue, because if you hit refresh, that means it's basically the stupidest name Microsoft made up for a hard reset, where it's going to install Windows 10 and uninstall all of your programs. Sort of like a super duper clean install, which what's happening is actually a clean install of Windows 10. It just transfers all your apps and settings over. So let's hit install here. It's gonna sit on this screen here for a little while, then it's gonna restart the computer. Alright, so now we're actually at the spot where it's starting to do the install. It's been about 45 minutes for all the prep and download and getting it going to start the install. Now it's actually doing the install, so this could take another 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll just come back whenever it gets near the end here, or a couple different stages in between. Alright, 99%, getting ready. I think it's going to restart here. First load of Windows 10 on this box. Alright, after what seems like an eternity, it looks like we're kind of back to the main login. Let's see what happens. Looks like it's running at a different resolution than it's supposed to, but let me log in here. I'm sure it's going to go through some more rigmarole here. setting up the account like it would do if you made a new account. Like Windows 8 would do, getting things ready. Yeah, it is taking a lot longer than usual. The other 4 computers I didn't really take anywhere near as long as this. I'm on about 3 hours right now doing this upgrade on this computer. So it may take you this long too. It's hard to say. I do have a lot of programs on this box, so maybe that's why I transfer into settings. But hopefully everything's going to be good when we get up and finally see the damn desktop. Alright, well there's the desktop, except I can tell that it's not the right resolution. So first thing I'm going to do, once it looks like it's loaded up, is see what video card it thinks it has. I'll go in here to my display settings, see if I can kick this up to 1920 by 1080. I don't know why it dumbed it down. It didn't change any of the resolutions on any of the other updates. I've got a 980 GTX card. I'd put the newest drivers in before I did this, but apparently there is something weird with the NVIDIA drivers and Windows 10 some situations. Of course this one is going to have that situation. It's piss ass slow too. Still loading this first time. $1920 by 1080. There we go. Now we're looking better. Of course it blew all my icons up. I'll fix all those later, that's not a big deal. While it's doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and fix my desktop here. Oh, speakers. That's all it was the device with speakers. Alright, so what I'm going to do is do a shutdown and restart, and I'm going to come back in with the screencasting program so I can go over some more stuff with what happens after everything is good. Seems like everything installed properly, at least right now. I'm going to play around with it, and I'll get back with the screencast here next.
Before I go back into screencast mode, I just want to say that I did have an issue here, which a lot of people apparently are having with the Windows 10 installation, and that is a black screen with no cursor. And basically what's happened is Windows 10 is detecting that your computer has 2 monitors even if it has 1 monitor. And this has happened randomly on different video cards and different setups. So you're actually sitting there with a login screen pointing out another port, and if you knew to do that, you could plug in, a TV to the HDMI or any other monitor to the HDMI and log in. But in my case, I turned the power off and broke my RAID, so I had to wait 8 hours for my RAID rebuild. So now that's all done. Windows seems to be fine, and let's go on to the next steps. Alright, so after getting the video and RAID issues taken care of that I had, I got Windows 10 up and running 100%. Everything looks good to go. So let's go over some of the new stuff that could be, if you're going from 7 to 8, you'll maybe like or dislike, or you will just go from there. I'm just going to show you and you can see. If you're a Windows 8 user, you'll be happy to see that you have a start menu back. Somewhat of a start menu. It's similar to what it was in Windows 7. At least now you can see everything in one little screen instead of it taking up the whole screen like it did in Windows 8. And if you're used to Windows 7, you'll see these tiles here, which used to take up the whole screen in Windows 8, which now you can scroll them here, which it's still kind of questionable why they even made it. At least for a desktop computer, should just be able to turn that whole area off.
But let's just keep on going here. So you can now see all your apps same way before, but it sorts them with bigger, fatter icons and not quite as intuitive, I think, as the original start menu. But this is a good effort to make people from Windows 7 and Windows 8 happy with this new hybrid version of the start menu. Um, Besides the start menu, you also have this Cortana, which is you can disable if you want to or hide it, but it's kind of like their smartphone, cell phone thing. Uh, Assistant of some sort that you can run programs and whatnot. So I'll just bring it up and tell me a joke. It heard me say bring up, so it says bring up and tell me a joke, and we'll just go into this now because this is the new web browser. Since it opened up bring up and tell me a joke, it opened up Edge, Microsoft Edge. I'm going to close it. That's this new E here, which they've replaced Internet Explorer with Edge, and actually Internet Explorer is still hidden in here and you can run it, but they want you to use this new Edge program, which is the replacement for Internet Explorer. So this is cool right off the bat. They force you into Bing as your search, which I would not want to have Bing as my search engine. So here's one thing that's kind of hokey about it. I'm going to go to the settings, and you can change your theme to dark. I'm going to make it dark because I like it darker there. And let's go to advanced settings, and I want to change my search engine to Google. It's kind of weird how you can change your search engines, because before you could just click on a little drop box and go to a page which had all kinds of search engines. Here it's a little bit different. So let's say I say add new right now. Well, where do I get a search provider? There's nothing to choose. The only way you could get to choose a search provider is go there. So I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to go to Google. Google.com. Alright, so now when we go back in here to our settings and go to advanced, and if we go now into change our search engine, say add new, it'll show Google is possible. It has to be on a page that is OpenSearch compatible before it's going to show anything in the list. So now I can hit google.com, set as default, and there we go. Now next time I go in here, it's going to want to use Google instead of Bing for my search engine. Now, I would also never even run probably Edge, as I did not ever run Internet Explorer. I would use Google Chrome anyway. So that was Edge, which Cortana brought up. Back to Cortana, I'm going to say, so again, just you can talk to her, tell her to run programs. Let's just do one right now. Run Notepad. Oh, it got Ron. Let's try a different word. How about start Notepad?
All right. Which one do you want?
Oh, I got.
One Notepad plus plus or two Notepad?
We'll go with just regular Notepad. I guess if you got two different programs, it's gonna give you the option. I'm sure you could say it, but anyway, you can run programs by talking to her, and she'll tell you jokes and whatever other things she suggests to you. Tell me a joke. Tell me a joke.
Why did the hipster burn his mouth on his coffee? Because he drank it before it was cool.
Ha ha ha. Alright, so there's Cortana. You can talk to her, tell her to do stuff. Maybe it's fun, maybe it's not. Anyway, let's go to the next thing. We did the start menu, did Cortana. Alright, let's take a look at these icons and colors we've got here. They kind of, if you had Windows 8, you know, they kind of flattened it down, took out all the arrow and graphical looks to the operating system. Now they've dumbed it down a little bit more, even with Windows 10. You can see that there is no border anymore around the outside of Windows. Title bars actually don't have any color whatsoever, and you know, they kind of made everything more simplistic. Even if you think they could, they made it more simplistic even than Windows 8 for the icons, and the way everything looks. They've got the tray icons here. They're kind of on a transparent background, which I don't know, so depending on the icon color and what color is shown, You may or may not be able to see them very well. That's kind of poor choice there. But right off the bat, everything is kind of drab colors. They put you on a black scheme. So let's go into our settings here, which in Windows 8 they split this off where you have a settings, and same in Windows 10, and then you also have control panel, which some things you have to do in here and some things you have to do in here. Some are redundant in each one with different looks, but I don't know. They're going to probably phase out control panel altogether at some point is what it looks like. But like right now they moved Windows Update is not in control panel anymore. You got to go in here to go to Windows Update to see if there's any updates. So that right there is kind of a dumbed down even Windows Update. There's not as many options as what you're used to in previous version of Windows. But either way, it is what it is right now. But as far as colors go, it's just set as a drab black. I'm going to go ahead and kick on, if you check this one thing in colors here in settings to show color on start bar, then it's going to pick a random color from your background and at least give you some color in there. That's probably the first thing that you're going to want to do, is just kick that on at least. And you can't really change the title bar colors at the operating system level yet. I'm sure someone will come on the program to do it, but then you can pick different themes and force the title bar to be a color, but then it's only that one color. And any programs you have, whatever they set for the colors of the title bar will be the same. Like if I go into Chrome here, you'll see that I've got marble set there. All right, now the next hokey thing I want to talk about has to do with the touch screen. I don't have touch screens, but apparently Microsoft thinks all computers now have touch screens. Every single one after the upgrade has this little keyboard down here, which I had a couple computers that it did it on Windows 8. But if you don't have a touch screen, you don't need to have the touch screen enabled, because it'll create problems in certain scenarios on web pages. Definitely is where I've noticed that you can't do things because the browser loads up with a touchscreen mode and is expecting you to use your finger on the web page. It happens with a lot of responsive websites, and that's how most websites are now. With responsive websites, it throws it in responsive mode, and then it's expecting you to be using your fingers on it. So if you don't have a touchscreen, you need to go to your device manager by right-clicking on the computer icon and go to Properties and go to Device Manager, or you can go to Control Panel and Device Manager. Once you're in Device Manager, you need to go to Human Interface Devices and look for HID Compliant Touchscreen. Right-click on that, disable it. You do not need it, because it will cause problems if it is on. You'll find out. And if you wonder why certain things aren't working in your web browser, that's why. So turn that off, leave it off, and you can disable this keyboard off of here if you want to. Just right-click on it, say Show Touch Keyboard button, gone. So now, since I don't have a touchscreen, Windows doesn't think I have a touchscreen anymore. And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't detect that every computer has a touchscreen. So definitely want to turn that off. All right, so if you're happy with your Windows installation, the last thing you need to do is clean up all the stuff that it left behind from the old version of Windows. And at that point, you will not be able to go back to Windows 8.1 or 7 or whatever operating system you were running. I'm happy with this. I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and, for this demo's purposes, get rid of the stuff. So if you click on Start, you can type in Clean, C-L-E-A-N, and bring up Disk Cleanup. All right, that's where you can go in and it just looks for temp files and random stuff, but we're going to pick the system file. So the first thing you got to do is pick the hard drive that your operating system's on, which is probably C. So you got to go through this first step here where it's going to go do a search. All right, so once it's got through this first search of things, you have to do it one more time. You got to hit this button that says Clean Up System Files and wait for it to do it again. And you got to pick the drive. All right, so now that it's checked for all the system files here, we want to go through and get rid of specifically the previous Windows installations. And apparently I've never done this for a while on this box. I probably have some Windows 8s in there, but we got 35 gigs worth of space I can clear up right here of just previous Windows installations. and you can get rid of temporary Windows installation files. There's another 3.81 gigs. So if you check those two, at least that's getting rid of the Windows installations. You can check whatever you want in here, but I'm not going to delete anything else except those two off of here, and all the rest are insignificant sizes anyway. So I'm going to clean this up, and once you do this, it's going to tell you that you will not be able to resort back to your old version of Windows after doing this. So you're stuck with 10 unless you want to do a complete wipe and start from scratch. So it's telling me deleting the previous Windows or temporary installation files, no longer be able to restore machine back to previous version of Windows. Sure, I don't care. I'll just start over. It's fun. So once this is done, this will just disappear, and we'll go on to the next topic. Alright, while this disk cleanup's working, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about one last suggestion for anyone that has Windows 8 or 10, and that is this little program called Start 10. Alright, they had a program called Start 8, which was basically a start menu replacement for Windows 8, and now they have it for 10, which basically makes your start menu look just like it used to in Windows 7, which I think is way more functional and easier to use, and you can still also use the Windows 10 menu and Metro apps the same way as you could with the original menu right here. So I'm going to go ahead and install Start 10 and let you take a look at it. Alright, so now I've got Start 10 installed in here, which again I told you is from Stardock. It's stardock.com, and they made a program called Start 8 that I used throughout the whole time with Windows 8 because I like change, I guess, but not what they did to the start menu. The start menu was gone. It was ruined. So Start 8 put the start menu back just like it was in Windows 7. So if you like the start menu and you still don't like the Windows 10 start menu, you can go get this program for $5. It's well worth the money, and you can have the best of all worlds. So you can see down here, if I click on the start button, it's going to look just like you're used to with Windows 7. 98% the same thing. All your programs are there in the cute little list and folders like you're used to. You can bring up the modern UI applications right here, and if for some reason you want to look at the Windows 10 menu, you just hit that and boom, there's your Windows 10 menu. So you've got all the menus you want right there, and this is way better than any other solution that I've seen for the start menus, like Pokey. That's junk with ads, and for $5 just buy this one. That's all I can say. All the other ones are crap compared to the Start 8 or Start 10 now is what they call it with 10. So if you like to stay the same but have the newest operating system, Windows 8 did run better than Windows 7 in my opinion, and 10 probably will run better also than Windows 8, but I guess I just like the start menu the way it's supposed to be. So there you go. If you guys have any other problems or whatever or questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them because I do this for a living. I'll have 20 computers done by next week, I'm sure, and know all the ins and outs. So feel free to ask questions in the comments and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.